All right, we're on. I caught you mid sip too. Welcome to Two Hats and Chat, where Jerry and I talk about all things tech, hacks, and cyber attacks here at Wilkes Community College.
In the shoulder of North Carolina.
No, in the shoulder of North Carolina. Yeah. I still did not look up where we lie in Wilkes County, but I'm sure it's
In Wilkes County.
in Wilkes County.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we're closer to, what's the county to the east where is Yadkin in Wilkes County?
Close.
I feel like we're closer to the border that way than we are going up towards Watauga.
Right, yeah.
Because you got to go halfway up the hill.
Mm.
I mean, most people would call it a mountain, but
yeah,
it's a hill.
Definitely, I mean, our area has always been known as the foothills.
Yeah, we're definitely the foothills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good spot. The jalapenos have survived.
I was going to ask, so jalapeno update, what's going on?
Yeah, so they've survived. They weren't wilting. It was plant shock.
Okay.
And I think they're going to make a recovery. Now, I don't know if they'll make it in time to actually produce any jalapenos.
Are they like seasonal or annual or?
So I think, what is it referred to as? I guess seasonal, because in our region, so there's a scale apparently, a 1 to 10 scale based off of your region, and any plant is a number on that scale, and if it's within the number of the region, then it's an annual. So it will, I think an annual means it shows up every year
without you replanting.
Without replanting.
Yeah, it's just there.
And so jalapenos for our area are seasonal.
So like a peach tree is annual.
Would be an annual, yeah.
Although trees are a different creature, but
yeah. So I mean, I guess that their number would be like common for most everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, the tree doesn't like die, and you have to plant a new tree every year.
Yeah, but like if you had I don't know, like a palm tree or something here, it might be a little different.
I guess.
Could be, maybe. But in areas like Arizona and other places that just stay really hot and have a lot of sunlight all year round, the jalapeno is an annual. So you can just
if you had a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could also do it in a greenhouse, which I've thought of maybe trying, but
you've got enough projects right now. So.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of just every year improving on it and just getting better at growing it and then planting
and then
it.
Start over.
And then starting over.
It's kind of like a rogue style.
It is exactly what I was thinking in my mind. I'm going to treat gardening like a roguelike where it's just, after the season's done, it's GG.
You're going to fail.
Yeah.
I mean, in this case, it is a successful harvest one way or the other. But it's going to end, and then you reload and start all over.
I hope to get a jalapeno. One of the first ones I'll bring to you and be like, here you go, Jerry. Here's a jalapeno that I grew.
And I will look at it.
There's one plant that I have that is trying to produce. It's got the flowers.
Okay.
And I'm thinking it'll go. It might do it.
Might as well.
Yeah. I actually also have been a bad farmer because I haven't checked on my grapevine in like a week.
Okay.
And the last time I checked, there was like a pretty big bushel of grapes.
Okay.
And who knows, by now with all the rain that we've gotten, they could just be exploded and gone.
It's possible, yeah.
So, I mean,
I've got a bunch of grapes along one of the walls on the barn. I just kind of let them grow there.
Oh, yeah.
They're muscadines. I'm not a big muscadine fan. My wife likes them.
Yeah, I like Concord for jellies and such.
Yeah, I don't know. Grapes aren't my thing, so I'm like, they're cool.
Grapes are cool.
Yeah. We have got a blueberry bush that's got a lot of stuff. We have a new cat. Speaking of like tangentially related to your jalapeno with the flower that needs to be pollinated, which made me think of the cat because of course it should.
Right.
But it's this little cat. It's like that big. Like I don't know. It's a small cat. But anyway, my wife wanted this to like be an indoor cuddle cat, right?
Right.
So, but wants it to have experiences. So bought one of those, backpacks
Oh, okay.
One of my
Cool.
daughter-in-laws calls it a cat space capsule. So I got that and got a harness for it as well and a leash, so you can go walk the cat outside.
Oh, cool.
But the cat is so small, the leash. Anyway, that's not the point. But we had the cat like bolted into the leash yesterday, and the cat is like outside. No, uh, but but it's kind of like running around. And I was standing by the blueberry bush, and it ran under the blueberry bush. Now, speaking of gardening, there's lots of bug things, flying around, and some of them have stingers. So apparently the cat got into a tussle with a bee.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Oh no.
I just hear like all the leaves are like rustling, and I yanked the cat out from under it, and the cat's like all fluffed and like just staring at me like, dude,
Something terrible.
I don't know what
happened.
just happened, but it was not fun. And then a bee thing, it couldn't have been a regular bee because honeybees can only sting once.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, it was like, yay big.
Oh wow.
Yay big. Looked like a honeybee. My wife said, well, maybe it's a baby bumblebee. I don't know. But anyway, then it was like, hey, I got the cat. Now I'm going to get you.
Oh boy.
So we had a little tussle. That was fun. Then we decided to go in the house.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my story.
The cat the cat might never want to go back outside again.
That's kind of okay. But the cat, I mean, this happened like, I don't know, I want to say like 3, 4 o'clock. The cat went in the house, laid down, and like slept until like 10 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
It was just like, dude, panda out.
Done with
And I was like,
outside.
We'll see you later, cat.
You know what? That'd be awesome to take your cat on adventures though. Like in the
that's
little
kinda the goal, yeah.
capsule thing.
Yeah,
That's
Put
cool.
it in the space capsule.
I remember when my beautiful cat that I had, my late cat Solo. He was awesome.
That Solo was
Rest
a cat.
in peace, Solo.
Solo was a cat.
When he was young, I had a computer chair, an extra one, and I sat it next to me when I would game at the computer, right?
Right.
And he would just relax in that chair. He'd love that chair. But then one fateful day, I had a cup of water, and I was reaching towards it, spilt it on him. He
Never again?
Never sat in that chair again.
I mean, they do learn. Yeah.
He just never did.
Yeah, this cat's named Goslin after the daughter from Darkwing Duck because
Nice. I love that.
let's get dangerous or whatever. Let's get
skip
security.
Let's skip dangerous. Let's get security. Whatever.
All of that. It all works. And it likes to sit on your shoulder while you cook.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So it's small enough to do that, but I don't know that it's always going to be.
Well,
In order to stay there, that requires claws.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like anti-claws on my shoulder.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So Solo's mom cat, she was an interesting case because my aunt found her at the barn and then like nursed her back. So I remember bottle feeding her and all that.
Right.
And her name was Momo, she would love to jump on me and my aunt and she would literally climb you.
Yep.
And then like sit on your shoulder and then she would lick you and all that.
Yeah, just sit there
thing.
like, hey.
And she would love doing that. But she stayed light enough. I don't know if maybe it was like really malnourished when she was little because we found her in a pretty bad state.
Right.
So she would do that too. She would jump on your shoulder and do that. But she was pretty nice about it. She would kind of expect you to help her.
Okay.
So instead of her putting her claws out to climb you, she would be like, "Hey, I'm looking at you, and when I'm looking at you, I'm getting ready to jump on you.
So
You're supposed to catch me." There were times though where she would jump on the counter, and then without me noticing, she would just jump on my shoulder. Thankfully, she was pretty good at balancing, so she
That's always a good thing.
never got to the point where she flayed me, trying to stay on me. So
that's a good point.
But yeah, she was a great cat too. So
yeah, cats are interesting.
I really like cats. Speaking of animals, though,
okay,
we're not forget tech today. It's just animals and plants
and flying gnats.
Yeah,
whatever
I know.
That thing is.
I don't know what it just loves.
We
me.
started talking about plants, and it was like, hey, I'm a bug.
Yeah. Oh, did I get him?
I don't know.
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Hey,
is that the only one though?
I don't know. But my brother-in-law and I decided that we were going to take the boat out in the last couple of days. And the first couple of times I took my dog with us,
Mm-hmm.
right, Bella, and she's like a poodle lab mix. She's a doodle or whatever, but more poodle than lab.
Okay.
And she's probably the laziest dog I've ever met. Really easygoing. She's a great dog.
I mean, lazy, easygoing kind of go together.
Yeah, I loved.
I see that.
I really like that. She's like. Plus, she likes to go on adventures, so she drives in the. She loves going in the car. She loves doing all that stuff. So the first time we went out, it was Sunday evening, I believe it was.
Okay.
Just me and him to see if we could get our sea legs under us, make sure we could run the boat safely and all that stuff.
No holes.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
And she went out with us, and she was totally fine. Nothing crazy or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, is there anything weird going on?
No, I keep looking at the way I'm sitting. And I mean, yeah, I see you. You're like, Jerry, what are you darting at? The way I'm sitting, it looks like I'm slouching. And it's like, I'm actually not. I'm sitting up straight.
Yeah.
And so I keep, it's like, am I that fat or?
The camera adds like, what, 15 pounds
I mean,
or
I can
something?
deal with that, but it looks like I'm slouching. It's like,
Guys,
yeah, I keep adjusting myself over here. I'm like,
guys,
how do I look like
I want you to know that in real person, Jerry is an Adonis, just the pinnacle.
Okay, now that is a lie. That would not be true. That is not true at all.
Yeah. I mean, it does get kind of interesting. We'll go back to that story, but it does get kind of interesting. Recording yourself and talking, and I rewatch them because I just like to listen to what we talked about. Like, let me remember what we talked about. And it is interesting to be like, the camera, the position of the camera really does do something.
Oh, it does, yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm just a goober, so when I set all this stuff up, I'm not any sort of professional.
We're
or
making
anything.
up as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like it that way. Who knows?
I think
In many years from now, it's going to look totally different, and I'm cool with that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Anyways, the boat. We go out on Sunday on the boat. I was actually looking to make sure it was still recording because I was worried that
what's Jerry doing?
Today I tried.
Jerry's just trying to figure out why he looks so horrible.
I tried using hotkeys today, and that's how we're working it is with hotkeys. So
I think you have one working though, right?
I got two
F6.
working. Yeah. I got two hotkeys. One is for the music, and one is to play and stop the recording. But it's kind of like in Pokemon where you save the game, and then you're like, I don't really know if it's saved. I'm just going to save
it again.
And then I'm just going to do it a third time. I remember doing that looping as a kid all the time.
Oh, I was a big Sierra gamer, King's Quest, Space Quest, all of those. And save scrumming.
Yeah, just save. Yep. But I would do it like 3 or 4 times in a row.
Oh, yeah.
We would pull up to Granny's house. I'm like, I'm not sure if I saved it. Let me save again.
Yeah, just in case. Because I got past that riddle. But speaking of, since we are tech.
Yeah.
So why are you having such a hard time with hotkeys? You want to give people a little, behind the scenes of what you're working with here?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So sure. Yeah. So
yeah, I was thinking, do I need to lead you a little bit more?
I'm assuming you want us to talk about the hardware we're working on.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. What kind of issues are you running into?
So an interesting thing. So we have this cool thing. I'm not going to show you the thing, but
you're just going to pick it up and show them.
What if I do this? It's like a little button thing. You see this?
And for the record, that's not showing.
And it's not plugged in, right? Now, the reason that we're having an issue is because we like to, around here, work with equipment that is essentially end of life. So when
I think the term you're looking for is free.
Yeah. So when equipment gets to end of life, we have a really good relationship with our IT department, and they're like, "Hey, do you guys need this for teaching purposes or anything like that?"
Mm-hmm.
And then more often than not, we say, "Yes, give us anything you got."
I can't think of a not.
Yeah. There was a time where we might not have, but then I was like, "Yeah, we actually do want it."
Yeah.
But anyways, so the system we're working on is from 2017, I believe it is, or was it 2015? 2017.
Let's call it 2016.
Yeah.
Let's split the difference.
Somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
Either way, so one thing that I don't quite like about some manufacturers is that they have something called planned obsolescence.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it happens a lot of the time with Macs, I would say, and Windows computers like PCs. Either way, so
Cell phones.
there's a point in time where they say we're gonna support this hardware to this point,
mm-hmm.
and then they're gonna stop supporting the hardware.
Right.
Our operating system on our computer is version 13 something, I believe, if I remember correctly.
I don't know.
And I think that the current Mac OS is 15-ish, maybe.
I still don't know.
So I think that we're 2 generations behind. Either way, our equipment that we're using and like OBS and things like that I use to record is not like at the current version that they could be. Actually, that's wrong. OBS is at the current version that it can be because
Correct.
I can't find an older version of it. The thing to control this bad boy, I'm looking at this thing, is the version that works on our operating system, which means that the plugins that this needs to interact with that don't work because the OBS is the newest version and this is an older version.
Correct.
So I can't get it to actually work properly together. So I used the OBS hotkeys instead for it. But that happens a lot in tech is you have to find a good workaround in order to make things work.
I mean, there are times you can't do what we're doing here. You have to go with the newest, like our Cisco lab next door, where we have to. I mean, I don't think it's newest, but it's it's definitely not EOL end of life hardware we have in there because we have to. But something like this, this was a Mac lab, actually a graphic design lab that was being decommissioned, and there were a bunch of apples, and it was like, do you want them? I was like, yes, I do. If nothing else, it gives our students an opportunity to work with actual Macs.
Right, yeah.
And then it became, we could probably do this. Interesting, like, side thing, as you were talking about that, these cameras they're like these really cool, like, tracking cameries.
They don't track right now.
They did.
I have them turned off for tracking.
They would track, but they're really cool little tracking cameras that he turned off, and I don't know. I guess because he knew I was going to do this. And
Well, no, it's because I think that it works slightly better when they don't move around.
Yeah, they stay still, and it forces. But anyway, so these are tracking cameras. We were doing a cyber games, NCAE cyber games last spring. And we needed a webcam at some point, so I grabbed one of these and took it into our other room and plugged it into our Windows 11 desktop in there. And Windows 11 was like, I don't know what this is. I was like, okay. I started messing with it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to plug in an older webcam that has no bells and whistles because that'll just work, which did. But then you plug it into this Mac from 2016.
Yep.
And the Mac was like, dude, did you know this camera tracks?
Yeah, and it just started
doing stuff, and in the other room, the Windows thing was like, I don't even know if it's a camera.
Yeah.
So there's this real huge trade-off between these different operating systems and these different I don't want to say hardware manufacturers because 2016 Mac is running Intel under the hood, so really looking at same manufacturers. Same assembly language, same all of that kind of stuff is the same. So it becomes an operating system difference.
Yeah, it does.
And it's really interesting to see how different they are.
And interestingly enough, the program that is able to control our cameras, so how I was even able to turn off the tracking of it, that is running on its newest version too on an operating system that's a decade old.
Right.
So it's running its new software at its current update
on older
on
OS.
an older operating system, and that's how I was able to like fix the tracking. Now on our pilot episode, you'll notice that it was still tracking you because you got up to show them the rack.
I did, yeah.
And it was still tracking, and that was happening without. I didn't even have the software on it then.
Right.
We just plugged it up and said,
it just worked.
Let's just go. Because we were like, hey, let's just get in. If we get into a groove, we'll just keep doing it. And then.
But because it is so old, we can't, I say we, I'm meaning the royal we as far as you, because I'm actually not doing any of this stuff. This is all your show. So you can't update to a newer version of Mac OS X.
Not
because
without
the hardware in this version is not compatible, which is the same thing Microsoft did with Windows 11.
yes.
I can't upgrade my systems at the house because they're older processors, so I went to Linux across the board at the house. Everything works just fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and that's exactly what you were saying earlier. The trade-off that you have whenever you're picking an operating system to use is like some of these operating systems, like Mac and Windows, you're going to run out of hardware, and in an age right now when the hardware is really, really expensive, like it's almost a luxury right now just to have a computer because of using RAM for data
RAM
centers
costs,
and
yeah.
things like that. So, being able to use older hardware with a newer operating system is a boon.
Yeah,
it's
it's
good.
beneficial. Yeah.
It's really good.
And
So-
I'm not saying I should be able to pull my Atari 800 out of my closet and throw Windows 11 on it.
Right.
I mean, aside from processor, that kind of stuff, there is an actual obsolescence that should occur.
Right.
But some of it, I question sometimes.
Yeah, and we could probably wax poetic forever about like how programming has changed, and it's gone from making sure that you use every little
malloc.
Yeah, you got to use every little allocation that you have to make this thing run on a potato, because
optimization matters.
Optimization is really it's still important,
and you've got to know how to do big O so that you can actually look at your algorithms. Now it's like, did it work?
Yeah,
I actually don't care if it's optimized.
And we've talked about it a little bit where and it was in a previous video where we are standing on the shoulders of giants, because people used to program me out of the house. Like they would just do so they would do things I've never even heard of, and incredible programming skill. But it seems like sometimes companies will hire people that aren't that smart to maintain something, and then they might not quite understand what they're maintaining, and then it just goes down the line where it's just kind of managed decline a little bit. So that happens too.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I noticed you were writing on our board.
Yeah.
You got a little mouse pointy clicky thingy. Something about fix. What's click and fix?
So there is a style of, I want to say malware, maybe hacking, that's called ClickFix. And we were talking about Steam last week, and I found another article about how people are using Steam forums to use this ClickFix scam. So
I think I see where this is going to go.
Essentially how it is people will go to these forums and say, hey, my game isn't quite working right. Something's weird. Like, here's my hardware. Are there any fixes for this game? Like, can I get it running well on my computer? And what someone might message in return is say, yeah, open up Command Prompt or PowerShell and paste this command line in, and then press enter, restart, and let me know if it worked. Okay. And then if you don't know any better, you might just try it. You might have tried everything. You paid who knows how much money for this new game. You want to get it working right on your hardware, and then you're like, okay, I'm willing to try anything, and you do it. Well, it turns out that it can you shouldn't do that. Okay. And here's why. One of the popular things that is happening is that they're putting crypto miners on people's computer, and it's doing a lot of interesting stuff in the background. So to kind of give you the high level version of it is essentially whenever someone puts that command line into their PowerShell, it goes and creates a folder, and it's called, I think it's Windows. It goes on your C drive, and it's called Windows Background. And then in that folder, they tell your Windows Defender, like, hey, ignore this folder. No problem. Nothing weird's happening at all. Just ignore that folder. And also, for some reason, it also makes sure that program isn't already running on your computer. And I have a couple of thoughts as to why, and we can talk about it in a little bit. And then it goes and downloads this crypto miner, and then it creates a service on your Windows machine, or actually it creates a task on your Windows machine that will run that thing. But the service is called something like XRMG and then your computer name after it. So it's already told your defender to ignore it.
Ignore it, yeah.
Don't look in this folder because it's nothing bad.
And then reaches out to a command and control server to download something.
Every now and then it
or
downloads something.
some other compromised
and
web
then
server.
It sets up that task, and then it will every now and then run a crypto miner on your computer, right? And the weird thing, not the weird thing, but the Trojan horse style thing that happens is that it actually does bring up a window and says stuff like, cleaning your disk and, getting rid of ridiculous startups and stuff like that on Windows, and things that, Windows users are used to seeing whenever they go to clean up things in their computer.
Okay.
So it actually does show you a window, and it's
so it
fake.
looks innocuous.
And it's fake. Like, it has a timer where it randomizes 1 to 8 seconds of doing a thing and then moves on and has a bar and all that. So as a user that is naive, it just does stuff that you think is working, but really in the background it's not doing anything like that, and it instead is installing this crypto miner, and then is going to set your computer up to both ignore it and never get rid of it, and then also run every once in a while. So a couple of things there. One, don't run a PowerShell command unless you know what you're doing, especially if you find it on a forum.
I'm going to bookmark that and come back to that in a minute. But,
then the second thing, the first thing I mentioned, which is why on earth would they actually want to get rid of, it would go and find XRMG, I think is what it's called, XRMG, or it's those 4 letters, but it might be in a different configuration. I might have gone a little
whatever they are,
either way, it will look for a version of it. Now, the reason I think that it is because if you're having it mine something, you probably also have it send what it mined.
Yeah.
So it might have been like, hey, don't send it to the last guy that probably tricked you into doing this. Send it to me.
That's generally speaking exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Because this software is usually something that maybe you could buy somewhere.
Right.
Maybe you'll find a free version, but it's usually buyable. And then there'll be an interface where you set up. So, what wallet or where do you want this stuff being sent to?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So they want it sent to them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, back to the...
bookmark?
Don't run the PowerShell scripts you find.
So yeah, I'm going to bookmark that, and I'm actually going to put you on the spot. And I know it's been like 10 years since you've actually been one of my students, so you haven't had to deal with this for a long time.
Uh-oh.
But I got a bottle, so I'll use that. Usually I use a coffee cup. But this is where I ask a question, and I'm actually looking for an answer. Okay. This isn't my stalling tactic question that you learned that I was doing, but the one where you don't know the answer to a student's question, so you ask a question.
Yeah.
No, this is, I'm looking for an answer, so I ask a question. I like to do this in my 8 o'clock classes when nobody's awake, so that way I can drink some coffee.
Right.
Which I quit drinking coffee, now I'm drinking green tea, so... drink some green tea.
Hooray.
Woohoo! Go me. Okay, so here's the question I'm going to ask. Get my coffee cup.
Yeah.
And I'll stand there and wait. So I am just a Steam gamer. Don't really know PowerShell. What could I do to know if that's a legitimate command? Because some of those commands could be legitimate and could actually solve my problem. I was talking to maybe an actual support, and they had me run a PowerShell command, so how could I know not to run this command? Oh,
boy. Well, probably the first thing I do, I'm just going to tell you what I do. I don't know if it's right or not. I go and check to see what that command would do.
How would you check it?
If I ran it. So there's a couple ways. If I had a virtual machine, I might sandbox running that and set up a similar, essentially get an image of my current thing, go set it up as a sandbox, run it, and see if it actually fixed anything. which is like a long-winded, crazy way to do it, probably.
Yeah, it's also very technical
Yeah.
because you're bypassing the fact that I don't know that.
Oh yeah.
I'm just a
I'm supposed to be like I don't know.
Steam gamer guy.
Yeah.
You know, not to make fun of Steam gamer people because
Yeah.
I have Steam.
There's a lot of Steam
You know,
gamers now.
I just play my Steam games and yeah.
Yeah. How are you supposed to know any better?
Yeah. There's actually an answer I'm looking for, and I just wonder if you're gonna.
I don't know. I guess look it up. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Obviously, you'd look it up. So, I mean, you could Google it. You could just copy and paste it into Google. But what I was thinking, which ties into what you and Isaiah was talking about yesterday, and for those of you who don't know Isaiah, I'm not going to tell you who he is, but we'll have him. We need to have him as a guest.
Yeah, I think he would.
Maybe
love
next
to.
week or the week after, we'll have him as a guest. He actually came to visit the class yesterday because we triggered a new CrowdStrike alert.
Really?
Well, one student triggered a CrowdStrike alert, so he wandered on down and
Nice.
he gave the student the 3rd degree. Not really, just just talk to the student. Anyway, a really useful way to understand what it's doing. Go to ChatGPT and copy it in there and ask ChatGPT, what does this do? That is actually its bread and butter.
It's kind of looking it up.
It's looking it up, but then you could be like, hey, could you explain that to me like I'm 5?
Yeah, like explain
Because
to me
it's going to
what's
spit
happening.
back the technical stuff.
Yeah.
And, we technical people are going to be, oh, the Steam gamer is going to be like, what? Can you explain that to me again? So you can get some stuff there going on there. And I think that's a very useful use of AI because we were talking about AI a couple weeks ago.
Right, yeah.
And I think we're going to keep talking about AI because it's not going away.
Right.
Isaiah was talking about his ideas for AI policy and stuff. And he had a really interesting idea in that he wants everybody to, when we use AI, to actually tell people we're using it.
Yeah.
In some way. And then you mentioned, hey, because at that time I was having Copilot generate all of my Moodle banner images. And I've got a system I've got it down. I've got 3 prompts. I like what I'm getting. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you my new ones. You'll be like, dude, they suck, but
No.
I like them.
I'm not good at prompting them yet.
I really like what I'm getting out of it. And Moodle's liking it. Anyway, so back to the point, you were saying, oh, well, you could just have Copilot, the AI, put a watermark on there. I was like, that's cool. I didn't think of that. I could probably do that. Okay, now here's where I'm going with this.
Right.
Because when we were off the air, I said I have something that you could riff off of.
Yeah.
So on the way home, I was listening to NPR, and they had I forget the name of the show, but they had basically some AI experts. And they were talking about AI images, AI video, and how we've gotten to the point where the old things we'd look for, does it have the hands? That was always the thing. Look at the hands.
Yeah.
Look at the background textures. If it's a video, look at the physics. None of that works anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of
especially if it's top line, generative AI doing it. So one of the people was a researcher at, sorry, I don't remember the university. I think his name was Stan. But he was talking about how they're developing tools that are looking at the statistical fingerprints within it. Actually looking at how it is constructed.
That's cool.
And there's different statistical fingerprints between, a generative AI or an Adobe Photoshop or what's Adobe's Fire. It's not Firefly. That's a TV show. It's Fire something.
It's a good show.
It's not Firefox. That's a web browser. It's Fire something. It's
something?
a great show.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, only had the 13 episodes.
Yeah.
I think it's 12 in a movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress again. So, there's all these different statistical fingerprints. And a person had, because during the show, you can text and, the host will like, oh, so-and-so said blah, blah, blah.
Right.
A person sent in a message that basically said, I don't understand why this is so hard to solve. All we have to do is require the corporate AI companies, is that too many corporates? The AI companies to have a watermark on the AI images or the AI videos. Make it so that it has to have it. Problem solved. And I was listening to that, and I was thinking, you do realize that the bad actors aren't using ChatGPT, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not a bad actor, and I have my own image video generation AI at the house, and it is all running open source. There's no corporate that would have to watermark it.
Right. Because you don't want them to, like, your
Right.
agent to go and kind of give your information to somebody if you're doing something explicitly bad.
Well, there's that, and there's just I like playing around with the image generation, image manipulation, and I'm also teaching myself how to build some models that will do voice. And I want to get, all right, it sounds stupid, but my ultimate goal is to build a 3D avatar that looks roughly like me at some age range and sounds like me. That's kind of where I'm going with this when I have time for it. And I know somebody out there is going to say, oh, well, just go to this website and boom, there's your solution. It's like you're missing the part of I want to figure out how it does it.
Yeah.
You know? If I never get there, I never get there.
And
that's
have
fine.
it in-house.
Yeah, and it's all in-house, and it's all mine. And if I use some website, then anything created is technically owned by them, and they could use it for whatever. But anyway, so you're talking about this ClickFix. How can I resolve it? How can I know? Well, I could use AI to help me. Well, how can I know if AI is...
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just a really interesting thing. And just this morning before we went on the air, I was looking at another thing, which I think is still on my phone, because I actually just drew a blank on yes, that's what I was looking at. So I'm also a big reader. Currently going through the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. Right now I'm taking a break. I'm reading something else called Yesteryear. There's a book published in 2025, and it was self-published, did really, really well, got picked up by one of the major traditional publishing things, and they put it out on the shelves so you can go buy your physical copy. But then people started saying, this is AI. And it turns out that like 78% of the book was from generative AI.
Oh, wow.
So the publishers yanked it. The author is saying, no, I never used generative AI. That was done by an editor.
Oh.
Why
would the editor be writing that much of the book?
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who has actually written a book, not a work of fiction, but as somebody who has written a textbook,
yep.
My editors, they spell checked it for me.
Yeah, they didn't write it.
No, they didn't write 78% of the book. That would have been really easy. Here's my chapter heading. Go give it to me.
Here you go. Yeah.
So, yeah, we're entering this era where it's like, I like to play with AI. I will give it a picture, of my wife, and, when she was 20, and I'll say, make a character profile of this person. And, it'll look at the background. It comes up with, I'm just like, that's wacky. I love it. And, I get a 2-paragraph thing, and I'm like, hey, make a story about this person. Blah, 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 comes back a little while. It's like, here's your story. I'm like, I love it. That's so cool. But I don't want to be reading, Dungeon Crawler Carl. And Dungeon Crawler Carl is not AI generated. But, I don't want to be reading and paying for that kind of content.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
It is strange.
Yeah, we're really in this. I don't even know what to call it.
Well. Also, earlier you kind of mentioned that if you do some AI generation on somebody's site, then they own it. Mm-hmm. I think, was there not a recent precedent set that if anything is generated with AI, that technically it doesn't have a license? Might be true. I think that it just isn't owned by anyone, which makes it to. I think that was the stopgap to be like, companies really don't want to just generate fully with AI because
of that
they don't own it. Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So let me kind of backtrack that. So the website doesn't own but they can use it.
They can use it
because
yes.
I don't own it.
Because you gave
it to them.
Your data to them.
Yeah,
so.
and it's not like those major companies can't already create a Python scraping script that's going to pull my voice off of YouTube, or my likeness off of my pictures around lots of places. So it's not like it can't be done anyway.
Right.
And I get that, but
no, I think that if sometimes the reason you do things is to do it, not to get an outcome.
Yeah.
And as programmers, we kind of see that a lot of the times when we're like, hey, we have a cool game idea, let's do it, and we start writing the mechanic, and we're like, we're done with the mechanic. I think
I'm done.
we're just bored now. We don't want to finish it.
Yeah, I mean the rest is just implementation. I've got the rules in place, and like that whole project Razy I built and that you helped with. Once I figured out the OpenStreetMaps, and,
that was awesome,
and got the GPS working, and then I got it tied into a cloud-based thing for user authentication.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
and then you were like, can't we keep going? I'm like, well, you build this, and you build me a weapon system and an inventory system. That's so, second semester. So then you built a bunch of stuff, and then you finished what you had to do, and it's like, so what are we gonna do next? I don't know. I'm good.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm good.
That's kind of how it is, though. Yeah. Like it's not that you want a 3D model. You don't just want the thing. You want to work it out and do it. Yeah.
I want to solve the problem.
Yeah, that's fun.
How does this happen?
That's fun.
And for those of you who might be interested, I am running Comfy UI. That's the system I'm using to build they call it a workflow, which is where I connect nodes to models, and it's really cool. Yeah. It's really interesting. I think one of the biggest things I've actually learned from messing with Comfy UI, as well as the other one I use for the text-based one, Olama. I think it might be Olama. But anyway, the biggest thing I learned was understanding that once the model is built, the model is closed. For whatever the reason, that didn't connect to my head. And I'm like, why did I miss that? As somebody who did a lot of AI research in grad school, why did I miss that?
Right.
But yeah, so you have your thing that makes it do stuff, and then you train it, and we talked about training before.
Right.
Then once I'm done training, it doesn't learn anymore.
It's done. Yeah.
So, you want it to do more? Okay, go back to step one.
Yeah.
Or
do another generation using this similar thing.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I tell folks a lot is it's like, well, I mean, we call it AI, but it's not really AI.
Correct.
It's just machine learning and models and things like that. And yes, it's very good, but it's not actual artificial intelligence.
Not in the way that people think of from movies, but like just in the example that you just mentioned, the machine learning, that component, that's fascinating.
It's awesome.
Once I have the model, that's still interesting as far as a mathematical question of how it's doing the vector matching and how it's doing all of that to find stuff. But all it's doing is what we used to call, back in the day, a knowledge base.
Yep.
It has a base of knowledge, and it's looking it up.
Yep.
That's what it's doing. Now, the machine learning did something different.
Yeah, and the algorithms are awesome. Like, like neural network is just so cool.
Yeah.
It's just like, let's just make a computer kind of think how the human brain works. And
see what happens.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome, but it is just code, and it's learned out of a set of data. Now, the reason that commercial AI, I'll just keep calling it AI because that's what people know.
It's easiest.
Yeah. They think that it might be like that, but really they just had access to a ton of data.
That's the key.
Technically, they got access to that ton of data by saying that it was going to remain free.
There's other ways too. As a author, I'm currently one of the litigants involved in did AI learn from your copyrighted material?
Right.
I haven't heard back. I figure if AI did learn, maybe I'll get 50 cents because there's a lot of authors involved in this thing. But how did they train their model?
Yep.
Where did they get the information from? And that's a key thing. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago. We just like haphazardly were like, I'm going to show it 200,000 pictures of a dog.
Right.
Whose dog?
Yeah. Where did you get those pictures?
Where did you get those pictures of a dog?
Yeah.
And are you sure they're dogs?
Yeah. How are you allowed to do that? What premise did you say that you were using it under? Things like that. And as far as I understand, now I'm not like, I haven't boned up on all of that to understand it, but I think OpenAI, when it first started, the reason it's called OpenAI
Mm-hmm.
was the fact that they said this is going to be free and will help people. And then as
Yeah.
soon as it got enough data and ChatGPT came around and worked on as an agent on OpenAI, they were like, all right, let's do subscriptions now.
Yeah, and as you talk about the agent, we really need to see how these things are stacked. You have your neural network that does the machine learning that builds the model,
Right.
and you have an agent that is the go-between, the
Right.
middleware. If you want to go software development kind of thing, it's the middleware
Mhm.
that uses a model on the back end and interacts
And
with
that's
the user.
probably how they can get away with it, where they're like, well, you're not paying for the model, you're paying for the agent. You're
You're-
subscribing for the
yeah.
agent.
Yeah, you're paying to have the agent ask, serve that middleware.
Yeah.
And you could see that same thing in game development or any other thing where you pay for a third party, whatever.
Right.
Unity for many years, if you remember, to do the networking, because Unity's in-house networking was kind of wonky.
Yeah, a
So
little
there were
wonky.
like third-party things that you could buy, $100 or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
And
Where people have written their own and then you
Yeah.
kind of just stick it in, yeah.
And so they did the heavy lift of connecting to the game engine on the back end, and then you just made these simple calls. But it cost money.
Yeah.
And you weren't paying for Unity. Unity was still free, but you're paying for that middleware.
Yep, that's
Yeah, so
and that's how they can kind of go around that, I guess, is to be like, oh no, the data that we gathered was for the model, so and that's the difference is that when you're doing your own home thing, it's hard for you to generate until you get a model good enough. It's hard for you to generate enough things for it to learn unless
Correct.
you want to go through the process of rewarding it for doing a correct thing, which is kind of like goes back to the neural network style of like if you had a 3D model that was rigged and then you're essentially teaching it how to walk,
Yeah.
you essentially reward it when it makes a certain progress and essentially gains distance and things like that. And that's like a whole like computer sciencey
That's a different
cool
thing,
thing. And it's awesome. That part is awesome. I love that. The algorithms and patterns and things you use. And like you're saying, it's the process that makes it really fun. And then who knows what it will be used for. I know that if I had a 3D Jerry, I would just I hope one
You
day
just flick it on the head.
I want to get one of those like spinny like hologram things and just put it on the desk and be like, now we all have a Jerry here. He's watching this.
That's standing there with a cup in his hand.
Yeah.
Ask stupid questions.
Who
your
knows?
alarm clock goes off at 7 a.m. with a question. What?
Jerry, what are you saying?
Don't do this. It's too early.
The only data it was given was from like 2010 and like around that region, 2015. And
Oh yeah, that'd be yeah. Now I don't have the hardware at the house to actually train my own models, but there are open source models, and that's what I'm using. I would like to train my own, but I think the hardware I have would be
it would take a long time.
too long. And then I have options. I could do VPS, virtual private server,
Yep.
where I could spin it up, get on AWS, fire up a couple things, and zoom, there I go. Note to self, I might do that this weekend. I was just like, speaking of, Jerry, why haven't you done that? I don't know. For whatever the reason, cloud is like plan F or G.
Yeah.
I plan A, plan B. I was down around plan probably D or E, where I was like, if I take like 10 of the laptops I have, will that do anything?
Make a bit of like a cluster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like 7 of them are like really really old.
Yeah.
Will that work?
Well, that
And
part
now
is
I'm like,
free
I could
though.
go to the cloud.
Where the cloud is going to cost you just a little bit. It would
Yeah.
cost you way less than it would cost for the hardware though, which is like normally what they're selling as their.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're like, hey, you don't have to pay up front for all this hardware. So
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. The cloud class has been a lot of fun to teach. I teach that in the spring. And it's fun to keep going back to that because I also took a cloud computing class myself
Okay.
last spring as well. And it was mostly, it came from the computer sciencey side. So it
Okay.
was like essentially making an API and we used Google to do it. Whereas
What is that? Cloudflare?
I don't know if it's Cloudflare. It's called,
It's probably Fire
it's
something.
like Google Cloud, I believe.
I think it's Google Fire.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be Fire
Everything's
something.
fiery.
Yeah.
Either way, the content that we just recently started using does AWS, Google Cloud, and like Azure.
Microsoft. Yeah.
And I think that that's a great way to learn about it. Is that you use 3 different ones and come at the aspect of maybe creating an API. Since I just recently did that, and it it's actually kind of fun to get into doing cloud computing in that manner. And a lot of the time people don't quite understand that the cloud is just somebody else's computer that you don't own, right?
The cloud would be all of these data centers that everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of not a lot of the trouble data centers right now.
No, I mean it'd be the yeah.
Yeah, even though they probably are getting wrapped up into that. But initially what it was is essentially when you're using the cloud or like I know people's iPhones now when they take a picture and it saves it to their iCloud or whatever it's called. Yeah. That is just an actual piece of hardware somewhere on planet Earth.
Somewhere, yeah.
For now.
I have heard talk about, orbiting it.
Yeah, and then it's it's keeping your data on that hardware somewhere, right? And a lot of the time that space is shared with other people. And they're fairly secure. I would say physically secure. They're very secure because they're kind of secretive as to where they even are.
Yeah, they are.
For one. And for two, I mean, it's it's Apple. Like they're going to have security and things like that.
Apple or Amazon or Google or whoever, yeah.
And they're kind of hard to hack. I'm sure people have tried. Why wouldn't you?
Most of those problems actually come from inside threats.
Yeah. So, but that's what the cloud is. Whenever we're talking about the cloud, is it's just
it's not my computer.
Yeah, it's someone's data out. It's someone's data center out there that you're using, and
you could almost go all the way back to your ClickFix. I'm using somebody else's computer to do my crypto mining.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I am cloud crypto mining.
Yeah, I turned a bunch of people's computers into crypto mining, putting my forum post on here.
I mean, and of course, as a general rule, when we are referring to cloud, it is those 3 big players.
Yeah.
4 if you throw in Apple.
Yeah.
But it's those major players. And then there's some other ones like DigitalOcean where you can spin up servers and do web hosting and things like that. But I wonder who DigitalOcean has on the back end. I bet it's AWS.
It might be. And I know that it's kind of like when a company shares like data lines. I would say that like if AWS had a data center somewhere that they're using for their cloud stuff, and then Apple or Azure
whoever,
somebody came around, they said, hey, can we buy part of this or rent space? It's a similar thing.
Yeah.
So it's, but you gotta kind of, the physical part there, you have to keep track of what's what. And it's actually, the process of setting something like that up is actually incredibly cool. Like, because like what you might even do with your project is you might say, hey, I would like, when you go on AWS or a cloud, you can essentially create a virtual computer, but that hardware is out there
somewhere.
So you would say like, I want a CPU that has 8 cores in it. It's 3.6 gigahertz speed, and it's got 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and it has a GPU, and it has this GPU with this operating system. You're essentially creating a virtual computer, but it's a virtual to you, but it is real hardware somewhere.
Yeah.
Now they probably there isn't like a I just thought in my head, the story where the elves wake up like in the middle of the night and make the shoes. There isn't an elf out there building your computer as you're clicking on the computer.
I think there might be.
There,
I'm going to hold on to my elf idea.
I like to think about that.
Yeah.
I would love to think about it that way. But you have to think there is probably somewhere in that data center, this graphics card exists, this CPU exists. Maybe it's even a better CPU that they gate off to be at your specs and then have it run for you. That process is just wicked cool. I mean, it's wicked cool.
I mean, it's beyond just what we study in operating systems and that kind of stuff. Round robin and that. It's beyond just that. It's really fascinating how they.
Yeah, that computer doesn't. That computer you create doesn't exist. It's sharing other people that have done the same thing, and they're doing it. Now, we can talk about the big negatives of that, which is you don't actually own that hardware, and we don't really want to go down the slippery slope of us never owning hardware because it could eventually become that.
Yeah, it almost becomes like so many of the sci-fi, particularly dystopian cyberpunk stuff that is like stuff I'm really into, where they just have like a hole in their head and they just jack in.
Yep.
That where's the hardware? It's actually using the brain as a major hardware.
It's using that person's brain to enhance the hardware,
and then you're just connecting to
wherever it's from.
You're just plugging into your cable modem, basically.
Think of your computer like your brain, and when you plug up an Ethernet cable, you just did the Matrix on it.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. Now another interesting thing. This is kind of going off topic of what we're talking about, but I guess I could do a scenario with you because I think it'd be interesting.
Okay. I'm scared.
So imagine this, okay? And this is a real case, so I want you to keep that in mind. And it happened around 2020 is when it started to happen. Okay.
Oh, that's during COVID.
Yeah, during COVID. So imagine that you're working at a police station in Wisconsin, some county in Wisconsin, all right? And a mother comes in with her daughter's cell phone. And she says, I looked on my daughter's cell phone and there was some concerning messages from someone on Kick. Okay, there was like images of some guy and weird images and things like that. And so what happens is you get their username on Kick, okay? And you subpoena Kick to get the information of that person's username, okay? And you find out that this person...
Was this a case that was actually in Michigan?
No, it's actually in Wisconsin, and this is a real thing.
Because this is making me think of a case in Michigan.
I learned about yesterday. This is wild. So you subpoena them, you get the person's information, like maybe their email, and you realize that their email is linked to stuff for a person in Canada. Yeah. Okay. Now essentially somehow some agency gets involved and tracks down this person, and they're investigating that person and realize that this person that you're talking to doesn't have any evidence at all of ever doing this. There's nothing on any of their devices that suggests that they were talking to a young girl or anything like that. No, none of that. But they decide to charge them anyways. And this person was in jail for 18 months, charged with, YouTube might flag our video now, but I'm going to say it, CSAM, which is child sexual abuse material, like possessing it,
right?
Which they did not find evidence of this person having, but they're going to charge him with it anyways. What was the other one? Like suggesting to a minor or something like that. I can't quite remember. Like trying to provoke them into doing something, and then abuse, so child abuse material or something like that. So this person got charged with this, and he fought it. Right? He fought that it happened to him, and it turns out that they subpoenaed the wrong guy. this guy's name on
Okay.
his username on Kick that he hadn't even used since like 2018
Okay.
was Fusro Da, which is like a thing from Skyrim, right?
Okay.
His username was Fus_Ro_Da. That was his name. The perpetrator, the person, when the mother brought the phone, the person's username on that was Fus__Ro_Da.
Kind of like 2 V's instead of a W for Wilk CC.
Exactly. So this guy, that they had no evidence against him, they still charged him with this. He was in prison for 18 months before they realized they actually just got his username wrong, which is like a whole can of worms, because not only did that happen, but the person who was actually doing it got away with it until maybe they actually resolved that. And the person that was charged, I mean, imagine that. Just imagine like we would, like, if we got charged with that, you would never be able to work.
I mean, yeah. I mean, just getting charged with it, even if you clear your name,
Yeah.
That's not enough. And yeah, it's a forever mark.
Yeah. And like, imagine like for 18 months, your family might even believe that you might
I mean,
have
people
done
are
it.
going to believe that you might have.
People that you worked with. I mean, you can't work in like, I mean, you wouldn't be able to work here even with anything like that.
No.
And that it essentially ruined his life over missing an underscore.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Makes me think of another case, not cybersecurity related, but similarly related. There's a couple of trials in Florida. I'm not going to say exactly what they are. You can Google if you want to know what they are, but a couple trials in Florida went into sentencing phase this week. And in looking at the sentencing phase for one of them, it led me to kind of be like, okay, I remember this happening, and like looking more into it. And basically there was a shooting, and there was an opportunity to prevent the shooting, but they got the first name of the actual shooter. They got the first name wrong, so they went and talked to somebody else. It's a difference between Colt was the real name, and they went and talked to somebody named Colton, which maybe is known as Colt. So,
Nicknamed Colt.
So they kind of detained Colton and talked to him while Colt killed some people. And it was this situation where, wow, it's such a simple, and I'm not saying that anybody like dropped the ball but it's overloaded systems, and people make mistakes. It's like, well, what if we hand this off to AI? AI makes mistakes. It becomes a really muddy situation where, particularly if we go back to the digital one that you were mentioning, in many cases, it's a situation where we kind of lack some digital training for the initial investigators of situations. This comes from a case from Michigan involving cyberbullying, in which a teenager was being cyberbullied. The local law enforcement looked at her phone and went and talked to everybody. Traditional law enforcement. I'm going to go interview, boom, 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 boom.
Right.
And look at alibis, look at their phones, and was basically able to clear everybody. Now, this bullying goes on for well over a year, maybe even 2 years. It's quite a long time, before eventually at some point the FBI is notified, and the primary investigator for the FBI immediately goes to the girl's phone and contacts cell phone providers, which then is going to get you access to IP addresses.
Right.
So like in 2 days, 3 days, a week, the FBI actually knew who was sending the bullying texts, which isn't going to come about in that necessarily that traditional approach.
Right.
And it became a situation. I don't really fault the local law enforcement. They just didn't know.
They don't have the resources.
And that's one thing that I've actually talked to some people here I think you were even involved in the conversation with this new lab equipment we're bringing in. We've got industrial systems, we've got that drone system, and we've
Right.
also got digital forensics. I'm looking at how can we do like professional development for our local law enforcement community using these digital forensics, so that even it would be professional development. It's not a like a credit thing, so we're not grading you.
Right.
So it's like, okay, if you don't really understand, but you see the process,
Yeah. Understanding
and
the process.
and understanding the process, particularly with digital stuff, recognizing that it's a slightly different process, that
Right.
that there's different things we need to look at. The number of underscores,
Exactly. Yeah.
easy to miss, but also
It's pretty big. Like
ways to catch it too.
I'm kind of surprised that it got as far as it did, because they even went to check to investigate this person in like reality, and they didn't have any evidence of that happening. Now, I'm not saying that someone can't get rid of evidence.
I mean, that's if I was the investigator, I'm trusting where this information came from.
Yeah, and
So
it's
if I'm the
serious.
digital investigator at that point, I'm trusting that this username I've been given is the correct username.
Yeah.
And my immediate thought is it's not hard to wipe a device.
Yeah, and who, we don't know how many, it didn't mention how many people down the line it was,
Right.
right? We don't really know who that person was.
Well, just the fact it
that
went from
looked at the
Wisconsin to
username.
Canada, we're guaranteed it's not the same.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
it's gone through several steps. So whoever got the subpoena, and once again, I'm not blaming, I'm not saying that they did anything wrong.
Right.
It's just, it's kind of a training situation.
They made a big error.
And
Yeah.
I make big errors. You know, I do things wrong. It's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But how can we move towards mitigating these? You know, starting to look in the security mindset. How, you know, what can we put? What strategies can we put in place to help prevent that risk? Because in security, we talk a lot about risk assessment. So, and recognizing that when it comes to digital forensics and investigating digital crimes, cyber crimes, those other ones like you were mentioning, that investigation starts at the ground level, and our biggest risk is losing data, incorrectly understanding the data, incorrectly knowing what data we need. And it'd be really great to help, know what we need.
Yeah. I think that's half the battle, is knowing what you need for it.
So I just flashed. I mean, half the battle flashed me back to like 80s cartoons, and I don't even know which one, but there's one where it actually is like there's a moral, and they're like half the battle is or something, but which then flashed me back to the other night I watched the new Masters of the Universe on Amazon,
Oh yeah.
which was actually okay.
I hadn't seen it yet.
It was
but I've heard it's
actually
pretty
okay.
cool.
I really liked it. I mean, Skeletor was awesome.
Yeah, I've heard
I really
people
liked
like him.
Skeletor, and I like what the guy did with the He-Man character. It was like, I'm digging what you're doing, man. This is pretty cool.
I've only seen the trailer for it, but it did look interesting.
It was, and I mean, if you're an Amazon Prime member, it's. Speaking of a mistake, that was a mistake. I'll come back to the He-Man story in just a second, but that was a mistake I made in class early on. In one of the classes, we're talking about stuff, and I had mentioned, on Amazon Prime, and people were like, well, "What if you don't have a Prime membership?" I'm like, why don't you have a Prime membership? Everybody has Prime. Why don't you have Prime? And most of the class was like, dude, that's kind of like not really cool what you just did. I was like, you're right. That was not cool what I just did. You are absolutely correct, because not everybody has Prime, and that's okay. But if you have Prime, the movie's free. Good movie. But one of my favorite things of it, and I don't know if you ever watched the original, probably not when they were aired because you weren't around, but maybe you've seen them since.
I have
But the
seen.
original He-Man cartoons, they always ended with Orko, the little red guy, would come out and he would do a moral. That was at the end of this movie.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, that is so awesome. There were a few things they missed. I won't spoil the movie, but there were a few things that I was like, I was looking for this, but it was an okay movie.
It actually, I was hoping that the movie would do really well, I was hoping and didn't go see it. But it makes me want them to do like a Thundercats live action.
There, Thundercats would be. I mean, there's some others that I'd like to see done. This might be blasphemy for some, but I would like to see G.I. Joe done correctly.
Yeah, actually, I'm cool with that.
I liked G.I. Joe. Don't get me wrong. I liked the movies,
They're
but
all right.
it wasn't the cartoon show.
It was not the cartoon
I'd like
show.
to see that done correctly. The first Transformers was an experience.
That was pretty cool. The CGI with the transformation
And the sound effects.
really good.
I remember that one that came out of the sand, and
Oh yeah.
so that one was really. So yeah, I would like to see G.I. Joe done correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of other interesting things, but I heard something in regards to Amazon and movies that because Amazon is the biggest book retailer and ebook, and Amazon owns Audible, and now Amazon is dabbling in making movies, people are starting to, and this really came up in a Project Hail Mary discussion, which I thought was strange because, I thought it was strange because I was like, you guys understand that the guy who wrote Project Hail Mary is the guy who wrote The Martian from like 10 years ago. That was a huge movie hit.
Yeah, right.
You know, Project Hail Mary is the wrong example, but they were saying, so Project Hail Mary was a successful book and then was a successful Audible thing. So Amazon is looking at what's successful on Audible to buy those IPs and flip them into movies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Project Hail Mary, bad example, but I just think about like some of the books I read and the Audibles. It's like, oh, that'd make a good movie. And I wonder if Amazon is looking at Audible as a way to be. Is there already fan interest?
I think that's probably not off the table for them. Yeah, I saw that Gen Con I think is going on maybe this weekend,
I think it is. Yeah.
and I know that you like the Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's hard for me to say that.
I can't say it either.
Dungeon Crawler Carl.
I just say DCC.
Okay. They had a statue of him when you were like mentioning. No, my buddy was mentioning what he looked like. He doesn't have shoes or something. And it's
Doesn't
like
have shoes. He's wearing heart boxers. Yeah.
So they had a statue of him over there, and it just made me think of our discussion. I was like, oh yeah, that's what he looks like. That's kind of cool.
He has a bandana, cape, a jacket.
Leather jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat. I will say though, it does feel like, and maybe this has just always happened, but like stuff from my childhood is like coming back pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But things from my childhood weren't really my childhood.
They weren't. Yeah, we talked about this a couple episodes back where you actually looked it up and you're like, huh, I wasn't alive when that came out.
Yeah, even though I watched it all the time. So Godzilla is, I love Godzilla. And I remember watching Godzilla with like my childhood best friend. We would watch the black and whites and we thought that they were, but I mean, we obviously saw the corniness in it. I love practical effects. So
well, that's what made it though. You know, I mean, that's why we still like it.
And I loved it. And so a movie came out a couple of years ago called Godzilla -1. Have you seen Godzilla -1?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was so happy. It's probably one of my favorite movies ever because I love Godzilla.
Yeah.
And how they have Godzilla move in that movie is just like how he moved as a suit in the black and white. It's like when he's in the city and he attacks and stuff and he does that slow like this. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So good. And then Godzilla -0 is coming out soon, and I am tickled to death that I'm just so happy to see that some people, because that was kind of almost an indie film. I don't think they spent very much money at all making that. Really, the money all went towards Godzilla's CGI.
Right. Yeah.
And then there was a lot of practical effects, and the actors were excellent. I don't know if they were big name actors. It was in Japanese, so I don't know if it was they're big name actors in Japan or not. But I was just so happy to see that someone took a thing that I love and actually made a really good thing, because there are Godzilla movies like King Kong and stuff like that, and they're okay. They kind of remind me of like the Godzilla 2000 style, where it's like the newer version of Godzilla that's super fast and
very much,
crazy and cool. Like, it's cool. I love seeing Godzilla in any way
Mhm.
I can, but there's just something special about taking to heart the original content and then doing your best to not improve it but tell a story with it, and
Mhm.
not change the story at all, but to essentially enhance it. And because the story of the main character in -1 is just so good. If you're not aware, it's about a kamikaze pilot who considers himself a coward for not kamikazing.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
he flies to a garrison rather than fly to the target he's supposed to kamikaze at.
Right.
And then he essentially tells them, like, hey, my plane is in need of repair. And it just so happens that night that island is attacked by what Godzilla started as
Mhm.
or whatever. And it's just so intriguing for his story to, like, it's one of those movies where you expect Godzilla to be the main character, but this guy, his story from reconciling with him
Mhm.
believing he's a coward, as well as the other people around him believing he was a coward, and then just working through that and starting a family, really.
Right.
And it's just so intriguing. If you haven't seen Godzilla -1,
Go see it.
go see it if you have any interest in Godzilla at all. Yeah, you'll have to do some reading. I don't know if they've done
I don't
a dub
think
of
that
it,
there's. Yeah. I don't think there is. Yeah. I
but
don't think
I'm
there
just
is.
gushing over this great movie. But really the point I'm making is that it's just great to see that you have people that probably grew up like me,
Mhm.
and they're old enough now to where they can make cool things, and they decide to make cool things instead of putting in their own, like, ideology and their own agendas. They're like, let's enhance this really cool thing that we grew up loving,
Right.
and then
Right.
they do it, and
Right.
it's just so cool. I just love that.
Yeah.
So I'm
To see
glad
that
that
done.
Masters
Yeah.
of the Universe seemed to be good and did well.
I mean, I liked it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to go down this whole analysis of compare and contrast.
Mhm.
I thought it was a good retelling of the original. I thought it was. I liked it. I'll just leave it at that. I liked it.
That's cool.
I mean, enough that I'm actually like, do I want to watch it again? I'm like, dude, really?
I might
Or
go
was it-
watch it.
So yeah, um,
There's a lot of cool movies coming out soon.
there is, and kind of like riffing off what you were just saying, one of the ones that is generating a lot of publicity right now is the Odyssey.
The Odyssey.
And, that is actually a poem from like 3,000 years ago
Yeah.
that has been retold numerous
Guy
times.
named Homer.
Yeah. I mean, it's been retold numerous times, including, I think one of the more famous ones is Ulysses by an American author.
Yep.
And I can remember being exposed to Ulysses back when I was going through middle school or high school or whatever, and it didn't connect with me that was the Odyssey because I hadn't been exposed to the Odyssey yet. So later I get exposed to the Odyssey. I'm like, this Greek guy ripped off this American guy. And I'm like, oh, wait, my bad. Let me rethink this. There are so many stories that have been told well that I just want to see told again.
Told again, yeah.
And it's like, oh, but don't you want to see new stories, man? I'm like, when I was a kid and it was bedtime story, there were books that I was only allowed to pick once a week. Well, actually, let me backtrack. When my kids were kids, because I didn't actually have people read me bedtime stories, so not me. When my kids were kids, and we had all the Dr. Seuss's and all that, it was like, okay, well, go each one of you go get a book, and invariably they'd come back with the same book, and sometimes there'd be a fight in the hall because they both wanted. It's like, dudes, it doesn't matter which one of you picks it if you both get to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
So why don't you you pick this one and you pick the other? But as a parent, after 10 days of that, you're like, okay, no, this book cannot be picked again. It's on it's on top of the refrigerator for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So this idea that, oh, we always want to see new stories, like, I don't think so.
Yeah, and it really does make me think, because I'm excited for a movie later on this year that is just another telling of the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
I really like the Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've watched a lot of versions. My mom and I really love to watch
The
it.
Muppets is my favorite.
I love the Muppets
Yeah.
one. I actually really like the other one that came around the time of the Muppets. That was like the live action one.
Is that the one that has Sir Patrick Stewart in it? That
yes.
one's great.
Oh yes.
And then you also have the Bill Murray one called Scrooged.
Yeah, I like
that was
that
a
one.
good one.
And I really like the Jim Carrey CGI one.
That one was good, yeah.
But the one coming out this year is Johnny Depp as Ebenezer Scrooge, and I'm like,
I mean, it's Johnny Depp. Where
I
you
gotta
gonna
go see it. I watched the trailer and I was like, yep.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
It's just a Christmas Carol again. But guess what? And that's what my wife was talking about. She's like, why are they doing that again? I'm like, because it's a great story.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And we want to see it retold.
And I definitely want to see Johnny Depp as Ebenezer Scrooge. I mean, why would I not?
Yeah.
It's just awesome. And I just love that story so much. It's such a great, like, spirit of Christmas story. Like,
It is.
It's got it hits all the notes for me because it's like you don't really know what other people are going through. This is where you've come from. You used to be like this. What happened?
Yeah.
You know, like, where's your spirit? Where's your spirit? And I just love that story. And the Odyssey is great too. There's other stories that are great.
Oh, that was just because we're talking about movies.
Yeah.
That's a big movie that's generating a lot of talk right now.
Oh yeah, that's got. And the reason I think it's generating a lot is because they decided to use like modern language in their dialogue, is what I've heard. I haven't seen the movie.
I haven't seen it either. I think that's part of it. Another part, in just catching snippets of the conversations, is that big Homer academics feel that I think Owen Nolan, I think is the director's name. I could be wrong.
Chris Nolan.
Yeah. He did
Christopher Nolan.
He did
Batman.
Oppenheimer.
Batman, Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that, a lot of people are academic about it, are being really like, well, this isn't true to this and that, and I haven't seen it. At the same time, honestly, I haven't read the whole original Odyssey either.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that's got me excited to watch it when I get the chance, I don't know if I'm going to go out of my way to watch it.
It'll be on streaming eventually.
It'll eventually get there.
Or
But
if it's not, it'll be on my Jellyfin.
speaking of practical effects,
And I actually know the day it'll be on my Jellyfin.
just let me know. So the practical effects in that movie are pretty awesome.
Mhm.
So there's a scene where there's these giants chasing the Greeks through a forest, right?
Right.
And so what they did to film that is they got little people, like 3 foot tall,
Mhm.
4 foot tall people. They dressed them up in their size version of the Greek army's, like Odysseus's guys' armor. And then they got like 7 foot tall athletes to dress in these like big mechanical
So
armor
then you
looking
have all
dudes,
this-
and then literally chase them through the woods. That's just one example. I just think that's so neat. I love practical effects. Like,
And
I
you
think
could
they're
do
so
that
great.
same kind of effect even just by camera placement.
Yeah, and they also did a
Somebody
little
in
bit
the
of,
foreground versus background.
yeah, they did a
Yeah.
little bit of camera trickery, and they also filmed a lot of this in Greece, like on location
Good
in a lot of
choice.
these
Good
places. So
choice.
that's good. And the Cyclops in the story is a giant animatronic Cyclops.
I thought you were going to say is an actual Cyclops.
Someone found a Cyclops.
They cast a Cyclops for this role.
I mean,
I was going to be like, what?
See, I love practical effects. I just think that's so good. Like, because I'm a huge fan of the original Star Trek, the original Twilight Zone,
Original Star Wars.
the original Star Wars. Like, I love practical effects. Like, if someone could be in a costume instead of CGI it, do the costume.
I actually had tracked down a copy of the original Star Wars trilogy,
Mhm.
not the special editions, for my Jellyfin.
Nice.
Because,
Love
yeah.
that. Yeah, I've got my mom has a VHS collection of the original.
I had a
three.
VHS collection. I sold it, 30 years ago or whatever, because at that time I could not imagine that the originals were not going to be the originals anymore.
Yeah.
And then just a few years later, George Lucas was like, "Ha!"
Yeah, I'm gonna put the new version of Anakin into the old one. And it's like, I like the new Anakin. I like the guy. I think the actor's great. I just want the old one. You see.
I mean, yeah, because you didn't replace the other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, so anyway.
And that kind of goes back to our conversation we've had plenty of times where it's like people kind of want that analog feel these days. They want something analog.
I mean, I've been sitting here for like an hour spinning this thing.
And like my watch, like we talked about in our watch episode, like people kind of are jumping back to that more analog feel. They want to own something that works and is simple, and practical effects in my mind, it's not it's very complex, right? Some things they have to do practical effects, but the spirit of it, the soul that you get from a practical effect is great. Like I was talking about with the old Godzilla. Like I love that there was someone in a suit. They built a small city, and then two people got in those suits and fought each other.
Yep.
I just love that. Or, the Enterprise was, you can see the little fishing line when it's a little ship flying through space. I love that.
Yeah.
I do.
It was more about the story
Yeah.
and less about the razzle dazzle, which ties into, we're just going to go down like all kinds of tie-in, which ties into Aristotle's original analysis. I think it came from Poetics or something, but he had a original, I don't think it was analysis. It was something about tragedy. It was critique of tragedy, which really, it wasn't that he was critiquing it. And if somebody knows exactly what it was, because I'm getting the words wrong, I'm sure. But it wasn't really, a critique of it. Instead, he was like, if you're going to look at tragedy, which he meant Greek plays, because that's what they were. He was like, there are these 7 things, and these are what you have to look at. And and he ranked them in order of importance.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was spectacle. And that was down around like 8 or like 7 or 6. It's way down at the bottom.
Right.
Because they didn't do CGI.
Right.
But where would modern society, where would Hollywood place, where would the game industry place spectacle in today? Probably 1 or 2.
Yeah, 1 or 2. Very high.
It's more important than story.
And I gotta be honest, I don't think this is a hot take at all, but I don't really like when a game tries to do super realistic graphics. I'm more of a fan of stylized graphics because they're ageless.
Yeah.
You can look at a game like Super Mario 64. I think it still looks good today. Because the colors and everything like that, just they go so well with that game. I couldn't imagine another way. Now, my kids have just recently started playing it, and they don't seem to mind that it doesn't look perfect, but they also haven't played any of these super high fidelity,
like Cyberpunk
wild
2077, I think it is.
Yeah, and even that game. Even that game is a little stylized.
Oh, yeah.
But then you have some other companies that, like, that's where they put a lot of their money into is the spectacle, making it look as real as possible. And, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm much more a fan when it comes to games. I like story and gameplay. Gameplay is primary, but story as well. And I think you hit the nail on the head there that it's not always about the spectacle, it's about the story and what you could tell. And the last few years, like I grew up a big fan of the Muppets as well, Jim Henson, and he did some stuff on Star Wars if people are unaware of that. So he did a lot of the Star Wars. I think
I'm not sure who would be unaware of that, but
yeah, he did Yoda and stuff like that.
Frank Oz.
And
Henson and Oz. Yeah.
So recently the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, those animatronics are Jim Henson's
studio,
like puppet factory or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that maybe the story of that movie was as good as people wanted it to be, but I'm just again a huge fan of them making big puppet things and using them. I just think that's so cool.
Instead of CGI.
And that's just how I am.
Well, I think we are near an hour.
Yeah,
not over.
Probably somewhere around there. Oh my gosh. You don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
So much for the we're going to keep this to about an hour.
Yeah, it might be our longest episode yet.
We're going to lose, 10 of our 13 followers.
Yeah, well, they'll come back.
They might not.
It's all right.
Oh well.
Well, sign us off, Jerry.
All right. Well, I do want to do my Blues Brothers, so remember, let's be careful out there. But more importantly, let's get security and Panda out.
Yeah.